Well, Donald Trump and Joe Biden aren't the only names on the presidential ballot. There's one unfamiliar to most Americans, Howie Hawkins, the presidential candidate for the Green Party. Hawkins is an extreme long shot to win the White House, but that's not really the point of his campaign. It's more to try and highlight the shortcomings of the two-party system, which gives Americans little choice and often loathed candidates. So, is it a worthy cause or a waste of time? I put that to presidential candidate Howie Hawkins. Howie Hawkins, thanks for joining Sky News Your World. Now, forgive the rather blunt opening question, but you stand as much chance of winning the White House as I do of winning an NBA championship. So why bother contesting?
Well, two reasons. One is to put issues on the table that the major parties are not discussing. We've been campaigning, it's been the Green Party's signature issue for the last decade, for a Green New Deal. And now Biden's made it clear he's opposed to it, as well as Trump. We want to get to 100% clean energy and zero to negative greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. Second thing is an economic bill of rights to end poverty and economic insecurity. We want a right to a job, an income above poverty, Medicare for all, housing, education, and a secure retirement. And then we're in a new nuclear arms race. This is not being discussed. It should be a top campaign issue. So we have peace initiatives, deep cuts in military spending, pledging no first use, and reopening nuclear disarmament negotiations. Because the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists says their doomsday clock, the closest it's ever been to midnight under this new nuclear arms race. So those are issues that should be discussed and are not being discussed. The other thing is we're building a Green Party in 40 of the 50 states. Whether or not we have a ballot line for the next election cycle depends on our presidential vote.
And the obvious criticism, as I'm sure you would have heard many times, is that the Green Party is simply playing a spoiler, taking away votes from the Democrats. In fact, many Democratic Party figures still blame the Green Party candidate Ralph Nader for their loss in the 2000 election. How do you respond to that line of attack?
Well, our voters wouldn't vote if we weren't on the ballot. We know from exit polls in 2016, 61% of Jill Stein's voters would not have come out if she wasn't on the ballot. And you look at 2000 when George Bush lost the popular vote and ended up in the presidency, or 2016 when Donald Trump was the loser of the popular vote. It was black voter suppression in key states like Florida in 2000, Michigan in 2016, and then the Electoral College, which skews the results so the popular vote loser can win. Green Party didn't do that. We need to change those systems, and those are issues we've been trying to raise in this campaign as well.
So your three main policy positions are around addressing the climate crisis, inequality, and refocusing American foreign policy. How can you achieve meaningful progress in any of these areas if you don't win the White House?
Yeah, we got to build from the bottom up, like the Republicans did to replace the Whigs 140 years ago. We have won 1,200 races. We have over 100 elected officials in local office. We need to expand that to thousands of local officials, and from there get into state legislatures and Congress. And you're right, when we get a caucus in Congress, our presidential ticket will be serious, and we'll have a chance of winning. So that's the path forward for us. This year, it's about getting ballot lines so we can run those local candidates.
Now, I'd like to get your thoughts on the state of the Democratic Party. Now, given Joe Biden's failure to embrace progressive policies, do you get a sense that there could be a bit of an exodus of progressives? And where do you think that this could lead?
Well, I've been telling the Greens to hang on. Trump is so extreme in his invective and scapegoating against religious and racial minorities and immigrants that people don't see how conservative Biden really is. I expect him to win. The polls show he's going to win in a landslide in the Electoral College. And if he does, the honeymoon's going to be short. And then I think the ironic thing about this election, you look at policies like the Green New Deal and Medicare for all that we stand for, and Trump and Biden do not, the majority of American people stand for that. So I think maybe 6 months down the road, a lot of folks are going to be looking at us, and we need to be ready.